All right.
Okay, so I'm here with Bradford Anderson.
Hello.
I'm going to ask you a few questions. Okay, so can you remind everybody when you started singing?
Oh my goodness.
I mean, acting.
Oh,
and
acting?
Singing.
Acting and singing? Well, my mom got both my sister involved, and me and my sister involved in children's theater when we were young. And we always sang around the house, and my mom was involved in musicals and choir. And I remember taking singing lessons when I was a kid, not even thinking that it would be, not even knowing that it would be something I would do ever as a job. And then in high school, I got involved with the theater company that was based out of in the summertime, based in my high school. They used our theater for a summer theater, and that kind of started theater as a profession. Yeah.
Do you remember your first red carpet event?
Oh my goodness. I remember my first Emmys. Now that was maybe the biggest. It was at the Kodak Theater in LA, which is, if anyone ever watches the Oscars, that's the theater it's at. So there's, being on a red carpet at the Kodak is pretty special. It feels, it feels legitimate. It feels like, oh my goodness, it feels like a real red carpet, and that was pretty amazing. And so the first year I was able to go, and the second year I was able to bring my mom, which was really neat. And then my wife's been on a couple Emmy red carpets with me now, so it's a unique experience for sure.
Well, can you, for those the people that don't know about your character on General Hospital and what you've done within the past few years on the show, and tell everybody about your character?
Oh, well, he came to the town that General Hospital takes place in, Port Charles. I guess it's been 5 years now, and when he showed up, he was a computer genius who had never had much contact outside of the computer realm. So he wasn't used to dealing with real people. He was used to dealing with people, via, usernames and not really actually connecting with them. So he was kind of a bit of a social misfit and didn't know how to have real relationships. And that's kind of been his struggle the whole time, is how to connect with people in a real way and be taken seriously as a real person rather than just kind of a crazy little man.
What do you think you have in common with your character, and what the difference is?
I think my character is very earnest. He's not. When he says something, he means it, and the things that he takes seriously, he takes very seriously, and I think I have that in common with him for sure. And I think he's pretty optimistic. He doesn't linger on the negative, and that's something that is also a trait of mine that I like. I like to think that I stay positive most of the time.
Let's see. What other acting projects have you done besides General Hospital?
Well, I've done a lot of, before I came to LA, I did a lot of theater, mostly musical theater. And then since I've been in LA, I've done a few movies, some smaller, some bigger, and a bunch of TV shows, guest spots, and webisodes, and yeah, I've kind of been lucky enough to do a little bit of everything, and hopefully that will continue.
Your storylines of General Hospital within the past year, do you have anything that stuck out to you? Your character?
Well, this past summer when my character was shot and woke up in kind of a different persona, the Jackal PI persona, that was certainly probably the most memorable storyline from this past year for me. It was challenging and at times frustrating because a lot of it was meant for comedic purposes, and so sometimes that's fun to do, and sometimes you want it to be. Especially when it's such a challenging storyline, you want it to be serious in some respects. But I was proud of what I was able to accomplish. But I was also glad when it was over.
Okay, this is going to be the last question. Do you have any advice for anybody wanting to act or sing?
Make sure it's something you really love to do, because it is really hard. And look at the careers of people that you admire, and and careers of people that that you respect, and look at how things went for them. Make sure you go to a school that will not only give you great skills and great experience, but also might help you professionally, because it's really hard. Even if you get a great training, it's really hard to then transition to the business part of it. It's hard, if you go to a school in the middle of nowhere and get a great education, that's wonderful. But then if you have to move to LA or New York and have no connections, that's really hard. So sometimes you need to find a good mix of the two. And there's a bunch of schools around the country that do that. You don't have to go to school in New York or LA, but it helps to go to a school that has connections within those two cities.
Great. All right, so that's it, Bradford. So thank you.
Thank you, Jacqueline.